No question about it, Storm. The government is having trouble with its budget, but you might end up having a little trouble with yours. When you see the price tags on this year's hottest Christmas toys, Maxine Block says the people who make electronic games smile when they look at their bank books.
Video games have come a long way since their inception, and the inclusion of multiple endings in their campaigns is becoming increasingly common. These endings are often the result of the player's choices throughout the game, providing a sense of agency and personalization to their playthrough. While multiple endings can provide benefits such as increased replayability and emotional impact, there are also drawbacks such as development time and narrative cohesion. In this analysis, we will explore both the advantages and disadvantages of including multiple endings in video game campaigns to determine whether they should be a standard feature in modern games. As someone who loves playing video games, I can attest to the importance of game endings. A good ending can leave me feeling elated, emotionally connected to the characters, and satisfied with the time and effort I put into the game. On the other hand, a bad ending can leave me feeling disappointed, let down, and even a little bit cheated. Let's break down what an ending should have at a very basic level. The lead-up to the ending should have final boss battles or struggles. Many games will have a final boss or struggle that serves as the climax of the game. These battles are often challenging and require the player to use all of the skills and abilities they have learned throughout the game. The most basic element of a game ending is whether the player has won or lost the game. This can be determined by completing a certain objective, reaching a certain score, or defeating the final boss. A final ending should have cutscenes or cinematics. Some games will include cutscenes or cinematics that play at the end of the game to provide closure to the story and give players a sense of satisfaction for completing the game. Some games will include a final dialogue or narration that wraps up the story and provides a conclusion to the game. This can be delivered by a character in the game or through a voiceover. Some endings may have post-credit scenes or bonus content. Some games will include additional content after the credit sequence has finished, such as post-credit scenes that set up a sequel or bonus levels that can be unlocked. With that basic understanding, let's dive deeper into the benefits and drawbacks of including multiple endings in video game campaigns. Multiple endings have an increased replayability. Video games are a significant investment for players, both in terms of time and money. Including multiple endings in a campaign can make players feel like they are getting more value for their investment. By providing multiple outcomes based on player choices, players are encouraged to play the game again to explore different paths, increasing the game's replayability. Multiple endings give a player a choice. Multiple endings allow players to feel more engaged with the game's story, as they are given agency in shaping the game's outcome. Players may become more invested in their choices and feel a greater sense of ownership over their playthroughs, which can result in a more personalized and memorable experience. Multiple endings can also lead to a greater emotional impact on players. By creating consequences for the player's choices, the game can make the player feel like their decisions have a real impact on the world around them. This can create a deeper emotional connection between the player and the game, leading to a more immersive experience. Multiple endings can sometimes result in incomplete storytelling or unsatisfying conclusions, especially if certain endings feel rushed or underdeveloped. This can leave players feeling disappointed and detract from the overall experience of the game. The possibility of unequal impact of choices. In some games, certain choices may have little to no impact on the overall story or end, making them feel insignificant or pointless. This can lead to frustration and a lack of immersion in the game world. On the other hand, linear endings in video game campaigns refer to a single predetermined outcome that is not influenced by the player's choices throughout the game. While linear endings have their own set of benefits and drawbacks, they can offer a unique and immersive gameplay experience. Some of the benefits of a linear ending are a tighter narrative. Linear endings provide developers with the ability to create a more tightly woven narrative that is not affected by the player's choices. This allows for a more focused and cohesive storyline that can be carefully crafted to create an impactful and memorable ending. The singular ending can increase the immersion in the story. Linear endings can enhance the immersion factor of the game, as players are able to experience the game world and story in a more natural and cohesive way. This can lead to a more emotional connection with the game's characters and story, resulting in a more satisfying overall experience. A singular ending can have a predictable outcome. With only one end, the outcome of the game may be predictable, leading to a less surprising and impactful ending that may not stick with players for as long. A poorly executed linear ending can leave players feeling unsatisfied and disappointed, especially if the ending does not live up to the expectations set by the rest of the game. This can lead to negative reviews and a decrease in player interest. Finally, of course, limited replayability. With only one predetermined ending, players may not have as much incentive to replay the game as they would with multiple endings. This can lead to decreased replay value and may result in players losing interest in the game over time. While both multiple endings and linear game endings have their own set of advantages and disadvantages, multiple endings offer greater player agency, increased replayability, and the opportunity for unique and unconventional storytelling. By allowing players to shape the outcome of the game based on their choices and actions, multiple endings create a more immersive and engaging gameplay experience that can lead to increased player investment and motivation to play. Overall, multiple endings offer a more dynamic and personalized gaming experience that can enhance the overall enjoyment and satisfaction of the player.